Welcome back. One final point before we go. The death toll continues to climb. 20 people dead now in Venezuela, squashed by the government, ironically, for protesting the government. This is what happens in a socialist country. This is not failed socialism. This is socialism. Mothers and babies evacuated from the maternity ward at the hospital because tear gas filled the ward. Young men and women full of potential gunned down in the streets because they speak out against oppression. Families standing for hours in a line waiting for a loaf of bread. Children starving. No toilet paper on the shelves. International companies shutting their factory doors, scrambling to leave the country before they're hurt. Government seizing businesses, claiming commerce belongs to the ruling party. This is not failed socialism. This is socialism. This is what happens in socialist nations. It happens in 5 stages. First, the government seizes control. Then this causes shortages because lack of competition. Food, water, basic necessities, hygiene products. People begin to go hungry. They lose their jobs. They starve. Then people begin to die. The economy collapses. In economic turmoil, government seizes more control, and the deadly cycle continues. This is not failed socialism. This is socialism. In Venezuela, the economy shrank 18% last year. Unemployment hit 25%. Over the course of the past year, 74% of Venezuelans lost an average of 20 pounds each. Caracas is the murder capital of the entire world. It's no coincidence the government has seized over 1,400 private businesses since 1998, and 19 years later, people are waiting in line for bread and medicine. That anybody who speaks out against the oppression of the government is arrested and tortured. That the legislature, the people's representative, was gutted by a stacked Supreme Court. Let this be a lesson to us, people. This is not failed socialism. This is socialism. Socialism might sound pretty when a dove lands on the podium next to Bernie Sanders, but socialism starts drip by drip, drop by drop. Government taxes the people, then they raise taxes. They tax the rich more because the rich need to pay their fair share. Then the rich suddenly aren't rich anymore. But the government is. Government dictates commerce. They regulate. They control industry. They take over education. They ration healthcare. They stifle speech. They suppress opposition. They condemn individual thought. Does any of this sound familiar? Socialism doesn't work. It's a deadly cycle. We don't have to look to history. We can see it for ourselves, unfolding before our very eyes in Venezuela. There is no excuse for letting our country slide into socialism. Because what's happening in Venezuela, it isn't failed socialism. It's just socialism. And that's my final point tonight. You can reach me on Twitter at Liz_Wheeler. If you liked the show, please send me an email at oann.com/contact. In the meantime, catch us here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. And until then, have a good night.